welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, from Ulster to Leinster and all the way to wearing the green jersey, our next guest has been a standout star in Irish rugby.
But he's putting his fitness to the test this morning for a very worthy cause. Please welcome former Irish international Jordi Murphy to the show. Good to see you, Jordi.
Good to see you too.
OK, you look as if you could still be playing.
Yeah, well, look, I think I'm one of these people that needs a bit of a goal or a challenge. So I think when I retired, I took a couple of weeks off and then got right back into something a bit different. So just try and stay fit as much as I can.
Yeah. Bearing in mind the way the last few months have turned out, with the defeat to France in the Six Nations and then Leinster's defeat to Northampton in the Champions Cup. Is it tough when you're on the sideline looking in, bearing in mind that you look like you could still be playing?
Yeah, well, look, I think when I finally finished my rugby career, I felt like it was the right time to step away. But don't get me wrong, there's definitely times when you're watching on and you're thinking, oh, I could do that. But yeah, thinking it and actually doing it are two different things. But yeah, look, I'm loving watching on these days. You know, I had a great career, 12, 13 years I played, so I had my fill. Now it's time for other people to take it on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then looking forward, I know Paul O'Connell was selected as interim coach for the Irish squad. There's test games on the horizon. How do you think he's going to handle a younger, slightly less experienced Irish team with all the senior ones off doing the Lions?
Really well. Like, look, I think Paulie's got buckets of experience now, whether it was like playing and then he's obviously got a couple of coaching years under his belt. He also went with the Emerging Ireland tour to South Africa earlier on in the year. So a lot of those guys will probably transfer to this Irish team now. And I think it's a really exciting opportunity for guys who are going to get new caps, and they're playing Georgia and Portugal as well. So two tough games against two kind of up-and-coming nations over the last number of years. So yeah, look, really exciting times, and I think Paulie will definitely put his best foot forward.
Yeah, it is a case of trying to find new players. Like you have said yourself, that the France team that came to Dublin to play Ireland, there's nobody in the world that could stop them at this moment.
No, well, if they play like that, I think they would have beaten any team in the world on that day. It just happened to come up against us, unfortunately. But I think it's one of those things as well. We're so used to being at the top table, kind of challenging for titles the whole time, that it's incredibly disappointing when we don't. We go into a tournament as favourites and ultimately think we should win it. And to come up short like that is a tough pill to swallow. But look, these guys bounce back really well every single time, and you saw that in the following games. And you see that now when they select a Lions team and there's 16, 17 Irish guys. We're really up there every time, so it's great to see.
So to make the Irish team, of course, and to wear the green jersey, it's stuff of dreams. How did you feel, or do you remember, the day you got your first cap? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't be a very nervous person usually, but I remember I was sitting down at the pre-match meal and I was trying to eat my food and I looked down and my hand was shaking and I was like, right, this is a big deal.
I wouldn't blame you.
So, look, it was just one of those days. It was amazing where it happened as well. It was Twickenham away to England. So, and I think it had happened quite rapidly as well. I was only 22 years of age. I didn't really have time to process it that much.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I had friends and family there. It was a little bit bittersweet in the sense that we lost the game. But look, for me personally, I was incredibly excited to have finally put on a green jersey, even if it was maybe a little bit earlier than I thought it might have been. But yeah, look, it was an amazing day and I've only got fond memories looking back.
22 is so young. How did you feel being kind of in the public eye from such a young age then?
Again, I think ignorance is bliss a bit. I didn't really understand what was going on. I was kind of just going with the flow. I'd only left school maybe 4 years beforehand. I'd been in underage level rugby going all the way through, and it was just kind of natural progression, I suppose. Obviously, I worked very hard for it, but it kind of, yeah, it was strange to think, wow, I'm here now already. And yeah, look, it's a great, very fond memory to look back on.
Bearing in mind that defeat to England, James Ryan was here the other day and he was talking about his initiation.
Okay.
And how he stood up in front of everybody on the bus and did the Rapper's Delight. 3 rappers involved in that, so to do all 3 was pretty impressive. Was your initiation on the bus back from Twickenham?
Yeah, it was. Pretty gloomy bus, and I decided to sing Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus. I butchered it, which wasn't great. But yeah, the less said about that, the better.
I'm guessing that song is off your running playlist now, is it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Chills down my spine when I'm thinking of it.
We won't sing it for you. There are a number of highlights we could choose from your career to take a look back at, but surely Ireland versus the All Blacks in Chicago has to be up there, one of the best ones for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the longer time passes as well, I look back on that even more fondly. It was Just an amazing week. Everything about it was magic, really. Like we'd been there for the week. You kind of didn't expect there'd be that many Irish, and as the week progressed, you're walking down the street and there's people that you know, and when you turn up on the day, like the whole stadium was green, and obviously a bit of history, first time in 111 years to beat the All Blacks. A little bit bittersweet in the sense I got injured on the day, but look, I look back on it now and I wouldn't change anything. So.
Yeah, although the ACL, it's a big injury.
Yeah. It's funny going from such a high to such a low, but I guess there's worse places to do your ACL than Soldier Field against the All Blacks, so well, I'll take it.
Yeah, it was an historic day, all right, no doubt about that. Stepping into retirement as you did, was it a year and a half now, I think? About that. It's a tough transition, or was it easy for you?
Yeah, it's a strange one for me because I was injured a little bit, say, 2 years out from retiring, and if I'm being completely honest, I fell a little bit out of love with the game, just trying to get myself back to full fitness and stuff. And then I chatted to my wife, Laura, maybe the summer before I decided to retire, and I was like, I think this could be it. So I'm just going to try and enjoy it for what I can for the last year. So I suppose the penny had dropped in my head that the time was up. And look, you've mentioned a couple of highlights there. Like I looked back on my career and thought, look, I've had a really good, successful one. So just try leave it all out there in the last year and walk away with my head held high. And so far, it's been pretty good. So.
As a professional athlete, I know your life is very structured. You're told like when to get up, when to train, when to eat. Was it difficult then, I don't know, go into a life where that structure wasn't there?
Yeah, it definitely was. The first kind of 3 or 4 months, I didn't do anything. I couldn't look at a weight, where I'd been forced to do weights for whatever it was 15 years before. Didn't really push myself to go like doing a huge amount of exercise, but then I go back to, I'm quite a goal-driven person, so I decided to start running a bit and kind of put my eyes on a few different challenges and things like that, and then got back into the flow. But I definitely needed to just completely release for a while after.
Yeah, no, that wind down time is definitely necessary. You're going to be working out of a kind this morning, but for a very, very good cause. You're going to be involved in something very special happening for Laura Lynn. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Laura Lynn is Ireland's only children's hospice. The agency I work with, Navy Blue Sports, has a really long-standing relationship with them. A lot of our current and past clients have been ambassadors for Laura Lynn. So the likes of Porrick O'Hora, Mayo GAA, Fiona Coughlin, former Irish women's rugby captain, and now we have Gary Ringrose, Leinster Ireland, and now Lions is an ambassador for them, and they do incredible work. Again, like I said, they're Ireland's only children's hospice, and they do like amazing work for the families of children that are living with, I suppose, life-limiting conditions or who need palliative care. So this week's Children's Hospice Week from the 18th to the 24th of May. So it's an incredibly important week for raising funds, but also raising awareness for what is one of Ireland's really, really important charities.
And they need to raise money because, they need to fund the bulk of it themselves. So events like this are really important. Are you going to run for half an hour, or are you going to walk, or have you thought about it yet?
Well, the challenge is I have to run now, I suppose. I better get the runners on when I get out to the car.
As an athlete, I say your competitive streak does kick in anyway.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a great buzz down there. Like, they've got music, they've got kind of hype teams and everything like that. So I don't think it takes much to get yourself up for it. So
yeah, and it's for a fantastic cause.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And well done you for getting involved in it.
And thanks so much for being and chatting to us, Jordi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
And he's still wearing green.
I'd say it's hard to hang it up. It is, yeah. Now, the Laura Lynn 24-hour treadmill challenge is taking place right now. For more information, head on over to lauralynn.ie.